Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video here on Raid Shadow Legends. And in today's video, I want to talk about something that I have really missed out on over the last little while since its inception, and that is the Gear Ascension tournaments. This has not been something that I have paid an awful lot of attention to when it started up, because I think they changed it this way maybe about a month or so ago. They changed it to, it used to be just the Sand Devils tournament in order to get the PRISM shards. This is what we're really here to talk about, is the PRISM shards, but how you get that free to play. And I haven't really been spending as much energy and time into either Sand Devil and Phantom Shogun. So in today's video, I want to talk about this tournament. I want to talk about why people should not be skipping this, why people should be doing this to get the Prism crystals, because it's essentially like getting a free sacred shard, which is quite valuable. So I want to talk about this. We're also going to pull my Prism crystal that I got free to play as well, and we're going to see what we get here today. But before we get started, I do want to remind people that if you haven't started playing Raid Shadow Legends yet, what are you waiting for? You can download using the QR code or using the link in the description down below. Make yourself a new account, make yourself an alt account, or you're a new player, and get yourself a free Elena roll and 2 free epics, Tagore and Ugo. And that's not all, because you can also use the promo code Desert Queen to get yourself one of the best legendary characters that Raid has available, the Void Legendary to Hanarax. So don't miss out on that one either. So let's get started with the Gear Ascension tournament here. What do you have to do? Well, I mean, I did clear this today. I actually did this all within a couple of hours, because clearing some of the dungeons don't take that long compared to some of the other ones. And we're going to do a little bit of a teaser, I guess, and show you guys what I am doing on that front. So if you click on the info button, basically you are getting various milestone points for the type of oils and extracts that you get, whether it's the lesser, the greater, or the superior. So obviously you're going to want to try and clear as high as you possibly can, either on Sand Devil or Phantom Shogun, which is what I like about this change, is that it's either or. Previously, it was only Sand Devil. Now you can do Phantom Shogun, which I do believe, in my opinion, I think it's a fair bit easier to do this one. So I do want to go over to the dungeons and show you guys what I'm talking about. So for Sand Devil's Necropolis, this is the Ascension material that you're basically going to get for your main 6 gear pieces, or your top row, sorry. And Phantom Shogun is what you're going to be farming for Ascension for your accessory pieces. So that's going to be a little bit easier to do, in my opinion. So Sand Devil's Necropolis, I am not an expert. I, have only cleared up to about stage 15. I do find this one a little bit more challenging depending on what characters you have available to you. But I think where things get a little bit better as farming this for the tournament would be from stage 10 onwards, if you're able to get up to here. Now, for the purposes of this, I do want to show you my run of stage 13. So these are the characters that I am running. This is a blue magic version of the enemy. And a lot of my characters are either red force or blue magic. And you really want to have at least one character that can apply the sleep debuff, because you're going to see how this ends up running. We're going to just do one quick run of this. I have this on auto. So first off the bat, I try to use my Estrid's Dream Song to place a sleep on the basic A1, but it did not land. So I'm getting a lot of, I cannot land debuffs unless he's fallen asleep, which he does do after this giant AoE after the first turn. So now he's asleep, I can put my debuffs, but it's usually a little bit easier if I'm able to do that on turn 1 with my Estrid's A1. But I failed, I guess, to land that. Maybe I need a little bit more accuracy. I'm not sure why it's failing. Maybe it's not 100% to land that. So I actually only managed to get 2 debuffs, which is pretty shocking. And then so he takes basically increased damage for as many debuffs that he has on him. And then you can only land it when he's sleeping. So a lot of my attempts to land debuffs now are failing because he's not asleep. So I'm just using basically raw damage to get him killed. That's my Alice, and some of my other characters are just raw damaging it. And that's kind of probably the reason why I haven't been able to get that much higher up. You can see that it took me 55 seconds because I didn't land that many. For some reason, I didn't land that many debuffs, and my sleep at the beginning did not end up landing. So I think how I would probably make this a little bit easier is that I would then try to have more reliable sleep characters if I really wanted to grind this out. Because unfortunately, I haven't really made it to stage 17. His AoE damage it hurts. It's a little bit tougher to get through here. Some other strategies that people have employed in order to get this guy dead is to using a revive once kind of team, letting him AoE, letting him kill your characters, and then basically your guys come back to life, and then you eventually end up killing him. That way, that's what I've heard is a strategy aside from the sleeping strategy. Now, I do want to go over this again, not exhaustive. I am not an expert by any means. That's just my experience with Sand Devils. But I have found Phantom Shogun a lot easier to farm. So now I am over at stage 18 is kind of where stage 17, 18, this is kind of what I'm doing here on Phantom Shogun. So I'm a little bit further along here. I'm not quite at the end here, but I am able to farm all 3 of these Ascension materials, which are for the accessories. So one major thing about Phantom Shogun is it kind of matters about your red stars, aka your awakened characters, or I just call them red stars, right? You know, from the Altar of Souls. So for the purposes of this as well, this is the team that I'm using because they are, well, most of them are some of my highest red stars that I have on my roster and do damage. And so we're going to see how it's fairly easy to knock him over because basically the higher red stars you have, the more increased damage that you're going to be able to do. I use Estrid for my speed up though and the speed down. You can see there's quite a few debuffs being stacked up on Shogun. He's already half dead at this point after taking the first turn. It's just the amount of damage that you can do to them is pretty crazy. The affinity does matter though because it will make a difference in terms of how much damage you get. I mean, obviously he's a more complicated fight than this. He has lots of different abilities, but essentially, you know, it's not that big of a deal if you have high red stars on damage characters and you're able to just knock him over in a couple of turns. He just killed himself by the Smite Meteor. So there you go. That was Phantom Shogun 17. Again, not an expert run through by any means at all. But this is just something that I wanted to share with you guys. That this is somewhat easy to do, I think, honestly. Whether it's Phantom Shogun or whether it's on, like you can do this at you can grind this at like stage 10 for each of them, and you can be able to get through this. Now, will it take some energy to get through the tournament? It will. But I think it's very well worth it when it comes around because not only are you getting a free, what's basically a free Sacred Shard because you're walking away with at least an epic character and a very specific set of characters as well that you can pull for this. You're getting an Immortal Soulstone, which has value as well, and an Ancient Shard, and a part of a Primal Shard as well down here that you get when this comes around. So this is my first time that I actively cleared this to get the Prism Crystal. It took me 2,600 energy, and that might seem daunting for some people, but it is a 3-day tournament, and so I think that that's okay. I think that it's also very quick to run these dungeons as well, compared to some of the other dungeons that you might be running at like stage 20 or something like that for other tournaments. This one actually can be cleared pretty quickly. Like you saw the mine. I cleared them within 30 seconds to a minute on the Sand Devils. It wasn't super long in order to get each of these ones cleared, so you don't have to use multi-battles to do this if you don't want to. And I think this is well worth it. So what we're going to be doing in the second bit here is I want to talk about the summon pool. I want to talk about the Prism Shards and their value here. You may have seen that. You've probably seen this, right? There's different summon pools. I don't know how frequently this comes around. Maybe once every, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks. I don't think it's super frequent, but I have seen them enough that they do come somewhat regularly. In terms of the value, if you do want to buy these, some of these have really good value too because they're actually cheaper than Sacred Shards, or at least these ones are. So for me in Canadian dollars, it's 28 Canadian for 2 pulls. Or in this case, you could see it as almost like 2 Sacred Shards. Whereas for 210, I mean, maybe you get it. It's usually about 7 I don't know if it's actually if you get actually a discount for buying this or not. But either way, you know, I think that this is a really good thing because you're getting a guarantee. It's again 6% legendary, 94% epic. Is there a mercy on the prisms? I think there is actually, but you know, these are kind of rare because you only get 1 free to play from the tournament, and if you're buying, there is a mercy. You know, similar to the Sacred Shards after 20 summons, the chances go up. So it's very similar to that. But they have very specific characters that you could pull for, and that's why I think there's a lot of value in doing this. Now, I want to point out that it's a lot easier to get one of these, I think, than a Sacred Shard on demand. Yes, you can get Sacred Shards from Demon Lord, but there's RNG, right? There's a random number generator. There's a chance that you're going to get it and a chance that you're not going to get it. At least this is a guaranteed Prism Shard that you can get every time that tournament comes around. You just have to spend the energy in order to get it, which I think does have great value because you're going to be walking away with a character, right? You know, and now in terms of the characters that are on this list, I'll admit that I'm not sure if there's a ton of them that I need on the epic list that I don't already have, or that have any crazy value. There is Lady Annabelle, which I do not have. I don't have Deacon Armstrong yet. I don't have Doom Priest if I do have value for this character yet. Aox the Rememberer, I don't remember if this guy's any good, but he might be has some debuffs, actually, that might be value. The main thing that I care about the most, not this guy, is that a guy? It looks really weird. Anyways, is the characters that are on the Legendary. Some of these are some of the best characters in the game. You have Pythian, one of the best support characters in the game. I am not going to jinx myself, but I would really, really love to get this character. Just so many great debuffs. An AoE revive, and then placing a strengthen buff on all allies for 2 turns, and turn meter as well. Absolute insane what this character can do. Is like a 5.0 on Hell Hades. We also do have Duchess Lilitu, who is an absolute insane character as well. AoE revives, lots of buffs, crazy character, crazy support that's been like top tier for so long. There is also Theodore the Savant, who is more of a poisoner type debuffer, more than a support character. I would say more of a control based character, but I guess they don't differentiate in Raid Shadow Legends. And so lots of great debuffs: poison, weaken, speed up, and decrease speed as well. Fabian, we know Fabian from the anniversary event. I have Fabian, but I wouldn't say no to a second one to at least put in my faction Guardians. Nekmothar, really great Lizardman support character as well. So tons of really, really good characters in here. I would be glad to get any of these, actually, and that is what we're going to be going for. Now, I would love to have a Pythian or a Duchess, but it is a 6% chance after all. And then that means if you land that 6% chance, it is 12.5% with these 8 characters that you're going to get a single character. So my chances of getting a Pythian specifically is fairly low, but you never know, right? You might get really lucky today. So I'm going to turn on my epic pull music just for this one pull here and see what we get here today. So who knows? No, we got a purple. Who did we get? Someone new? Who is this guy? Mordecai. Okay, probably nothing super. That's a little bit. Actually, who knows? Maybe his reviews are really high. Actually, maybe he's a good Hydra character. I could use a Hydra character. It has a 75% chance of placing an HP burn on all enemies for 2 turns. Okay, and a 50% attack buff for 3 turns. That's actually not bad on a cooldown of 4 with the books. 75% chance of decreasing the turn meter of all enemies by 15%. Fills tier meter by allies. Now, this is not going to do anything on Hydra, necessarily. That's kind of basic. But the burn stuff might be useful. Attack 1 enemy has a 30%. So a lot of turn meter reduction. I see why that might be valuable in Spider, at least climbing. So I don't know if I really, really need this character, but I won't say no to an extra burn character because sometimes that's necessary in Cursed City. Fortunately, not what I was looking for, but I don't have him. So, hey, it's a character that I didn't actually even have. So there we go. Unfortunately, I didn't get so lucky, but maybe you will. And I would encourage everyone to do this gear tournament, to not miss out on this, because, again, at the end of the day, it's going to be a free epic or legendary character that you might be surprised with what you get out of this. Now, you could also very well save these, actually, now that you could save this for a different summon pool if you're not super happy about support summon pool. Now, supports are some of the best characters in the game and can help propel you content-wise, like more than any other character, in my opinion, and that's why I wanted to go for this. But if you don't want to, you can always save it for the next summon pool, and it does carry over. So just wanted to let you guys know about that one. So that's going to be the end of the video, everyone. But before we go, I do want to remind people that if you haven't started playing Raid yet, what are you waiting for? Download using the QR code in the top right or in the link in the description down below to get yourself a free Legendary Eleneral and 2 free epics, Tagore and Ugo, at account 15 and 30 for your levels. And don't forget to pick up Desert Queen. This promo code will give you the free Legendary to Hanorach, one of the best legendaries that Raid Shadow Legends has ever offered. So don't delay on that one either. So that's going to be the end of this video, everyone, and I'll see you guys on the next one. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.